Hi, welcome to the Resources Roadhouse. I'm Wally Graham, and today I'm joined by Allan Kelly, Executive Chairman of Miramar Resources. Now, Allan, you had a reasonably successful announcement this week, following up some drill results at the Marley Bone target within the Gidji joint venture project there in Kalgoorlie, just outside of Kalgoorlie. So it was a great announcement. Talk us through it, and what does it all mean?
Yeah, well, basically, it's the final results from our Phase 3 Aircore program. And what it shows is that we've got some high-grade results on at least two structures at Marylebone that look like they're in the same position as Paddington and also the Panglo deposit, which is further along strike to the northwest of us. So we had, a half a dozen or so holes that we drilled as part of the Phase 3 program that got hits of like 4 metres at a gram. And when we did the 1 metre resplits, we're getting multiple results of sort of 3 and up to 6 grams per tonne. I guess the two important things are that we've got these two parallel structures. The drilling is still about 250 sort of metres apart in terms of the line spacing. But on the what we call the Paddington structure, we've got two holes that have hit 6 grams per tonne, and they're about 300 metres apart. And on the parallel structure, which is, I guess, what we think is the Panglo equivalent, we've got sort of 3.5 gram hits that are over a couple of hundred metres apart as well. So we've got these, really nice coherent supergene gold anomalies from Aircore drilling. And the other thing is we're starting to get a handle around the geology. And when we compare that geology that we're seeing in the Aircore holes with what you see at Paddington, again, it's very similar. So Paddington is hosted in a dolerite, a bit like the Golden Mile dolerite, but a little bit sort of smaller and narrower. But that dolerite sits between a couple of ultramafic units. And that's what we're seeing at Marylebone. So we're seeing that mafic unit sandwiched in between the ultramafics, and where we've hit it, we're getting numbers of up from sort of 3 to 6 grams per tonne. It's still Aircore drilling. We're only just getting into the top of the basement. And we also have to be careful whether we're actually getting the gold in the transported material or in the basement. And the way that we know that is we look at things like the silver and the arsenic and moly and antimony and that tells us whether that gold is in the transported material above or actually in the basement. And most of these holes are in the basement. So that's giving us a lot of confidence there.
And also, with this drilling out at the Marley Bone target, there hasn't been a lot of historical drilling there, previous drilling. So you're really, you're out there really almost greenfield, aren't you?
Yeah, it's a greenfields project, 15 k's from Kalgoorlie, which is quite amazing. When we started there, just after the IPO, just on 12 months ago, we were following up basically one historic RC hole. It was a shallow hole, it was angled, it was drilled only down to about 80 metres. It hit 4 metres at 0.8 of a gram. Now we followed that up, and now, 10 months later, we've got this big footprint of gold mineralisation in the supergene and some in the basement. And potentially this is a brand new discovery, 15 k's from Kalgoorlie. Now it's still early days, even after 3 or 4 Aircore programs. The drilling along the section is at 50 metre spacing, but the footprint of Paddington in the bedrock is only about 30 metres, so you could quite easily miss that. The other thing is that the average hole depth of the Aircore drilling is only about 60 metres, whereas Paddington, the primary mineralisation starts at about 70. So the next steps for us are to probably infill to about 100 metre spacing, line spacing, and then if all hangs together, we'll then test that with deeper RC drilling. The other thing is that we just announced last week, I think it was, that we've got a whole heap of new tenements granted at Gidji. So Marylebone, as it stands at the moment, is open to the northwest across that tenement boundary. So we haven't closed it off yet. We don't actually know how big it is yet. So we need to really keep testing that northwestern end before we go too hard with the deeper drilling.
Yeah, well, it seems that people are actually paying attention because, as we were saying before we came on air, that it's nice to get a positive reaction to some good news coming out on the ASX, because there's a lot of times companies can release good drilling results and they don't get the response that you got.
Yeah, I think really it's still, we've only been going since October last year, and I think there's probably still a bit of education of people about the project. Yeah, you can understand people being a bit sceptical about saying, "Hey, we're making a new discovery 15 k's from Kalgoorlie," but in effect, that's what we're doing. So it's taking us a little bit of time to work out the geology and to actually do the physical work on the ground. But every program has improved the prospect, the Marylebone prospect. The numbers have got better. We're getting more information. The real turning point will be when we go from this Aircore drilling to the deeper bedrock RC drilling, and we actually get bedrock intersections, and that's when we'll really know if we're onto something new. But even if we don't, there's still potential there for like a supergene gold resource as well.
All right, and of course, Marylebone is not the only target getting some attention at the moment. You're also, are you drilling at Glendale, or are you about to go down to Glendale? Okay.
Yeah, we just finished on Tuesday. So we did a small Aircore program on the land just around the time of diggers, so back in August. And we got some good numbers from that. I think we got 2 meters at 5 grams on the land. And then that structure continues out onto the lake. So we already had the lake drilling planned, but we just did a program of about, there's about 150 holes on the lake using a special lake drilling rig. And we literally finished that on Tuesday. So, I say to people that Glendale looks as good, if not better, than Gidji. It's a great project. The difference is Gidji's in a fantastic location near Kalgoorlie. Glendale is a little bit further out, but it's got better results. There's some historic diamond drilling hits that are like 6 meters at 30 grams that have never been followed up. So we've seen some really interesting looking geology and sulfides and things at Glendale. So fingers crossed for when those results come in, hopefully in sort of like 5 or 6 weeks or so.
Well, Allan, you obviously haven't been paying attention to a lot of other gold explorers in recent times who say that there's nothing else to find outside of Kalgoorlie. So you seem to be you're proving a lot of people wrong.
Well, I hope so. I hope so. They say the best place to look for gold is under the head frame, right? So, we're not quite under the head frame, but we can actually see a couple from where we are. So, we've got at Gidji, we've got the super pit at one end, at Paddington at the other end. We've got Kanowna Belle to the east of us, and Kundana to the west of us. So it's not a bad place to be.
Obviously, well, you're going to be out there. There's more news to come, and there's more results to come, and hopefully we'll be able to bring those to our viewers and readers here at the Roadhouse. And until then, Allan Kelly, we look forward with bated breath, so to speak, to the next time that Miramar graces the Resources Roadhouse.
All right, thanks, Wally.